Let's start by talking about where you live. Do you live in a house or an apartment?
I live in an apartment, actually. It's a two-bedroom flat on the third floor of a medium-sized building, not too far from the city center. It's compact, but it works well for me at this stage of life. Everything is within reach, and it's easy to keep clean.
What do you like about the place where you live?
One thing I really appreciate is the amount of natural light. My living room has these large windows that let in the morning sun, which makes the space feel warm and inviting. I also love that the neighborhood is relatively quiet, but still well connected. There's a metro station just a 10-minute walk away, so commuting is pretty convenient.
Is there anything you would like to change about your home?
If I could change one thing, it would probably be the kitchen. It's a bit small and doesn't have much counter space, which makes cooking slightly frustrating sometimes. I enjoy trying out new recipes, so having a more spacious, open-plan kitchen would definitely make a difference. But overall, I can't really complain. It's a comfortable space that feels like home.
Now let's talk about sleep. How many hours do you usually sleep every night?
I usually get around 6 to 7 hours of sleep a night. I try to aim for 8, but with work, studying, and everything else going on, it doesn't always happen. I function okay on that amount, but I can definitely feel the difference when I get a full night's rest.
Do you think it's necessary to have a nap during the day?
It depends on the person and their schedule, I think. For me, I don't usually take naps because once I'm up, I like to keep going. But on days when I've had a really bad night's sleep or I'm feeling mentally drained, even a 20-minute nap can help a lot. So I wouldn't say it's necessary every day, but it can be helpful when your body needs it.
What do you do when you can't sleep?
If I can't sleep, I usually try not to stay in bed tossing and turning. I'll get up, make a cup of herbal tea, or read something light, nothing too stimulating. Sometimes I do a bit of stretching or breathing exercises to relax. Scrolling through my phone doesn't help at all, so I try to avoid that.
Let's move on to the topic of photography. Do you like taking photographs?
Yes, I do. I wouldn't call myself a professional or anything, but I genuinely enjoy taking photos. It's a nice way to capture little moments and details that might otherwise be forgotten. I often find that looking back at old pictures brings back the exact mood or atmosphere of that time, which I really love.
What kind of photos do you like to take?
I'm mostly into candid photos, like spontaneous shots of my friends when we're hanging out, or street scenes that catch my eye. I also enjoy photographing nature, especially sunsets or rainy streets. There's something calming about those kinds of images. I'm not a big fan of posed photos. They feel a bit too forced for me.
Do you prefer to keep your photos or share them with others?
It depends on the photo. I do share some pictures on social media, especially when I travel or celebrate something special. But most of my photos I just keep for myself. They feel more personal that way. I like scrolling through them privately when I want to reflect or feel nostalgic.
Finally, let's talk about historical buildings. Are there many old buildings in your city or region?
Yes, there are quite a few. I live in a city with a pretty rich history. So there are old churches, government buildings, and even some houses that date back over 100 years. Some of them have been converted into museums or cafes, which I think is a great way to keep them alive and useful.
Do you think it's important to preserve historical buildings?
Definitely. I think they're more than just old structures. They represent the culture, values, and stories of past generations. Preserving them helps people, especially younger ones, stay connected to their heritage. Of course, safety and functionality are important too. But I believe we can find a balance between preserving the past and meeting modern needs.
Do you prefer modern buildings or older architecture?
Honestly, I appreciate both. But if I had to choose, I'd say I'm more drawn to older architecture. There's something charming and unique about it, like the intricate details and the character that you don't always see in modern designs. That said, I do like the clean lines and functionality of modern buildings too, especially for things like offices or public spaces.
Thank you. That is the end of part 1. Now I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. You will have 1 minute to prepare and you can make some notes if you wish. Here is your topic. Your time to prepare starts now. All right, your time is up. You should begin speaking now.
One person who has had a really positive influence on me is my older cousin, Sarah. She's about 10 years older than me, and we've always been close, almost like sisters. Growing up, I looked up to her because she was the kind of person who always seemed confident and comfortable in her own skin, something I really struggled with as a teenager. I've known her my whole life, but it wasn't until I got to university that I realized just how much of an impact she'd had on me. Whenever I was feeling overwhelmed or unsure about my choices, she was the one I'd call. She never gave me generic advice. Instead, she'd ask me questions that helped me think things through for myself. I think that really taught me how to trust my instincts and not just follow what everyone else was doing. One thing she did that really influenced me was encourage me to travel alone for the first time. I was nervous about it, but she'd done a solo trip years before and shared how much it helped her grow. I took her advice and ended up spending 2 weeks abroad by myself. And it honestly changed the way I see myself. I became more independent and more confident in handling unfamiliar situations. The reason she's had such a positive impact on me is because she never tried to shape me into a version of herself. Instead, she supported me in becoming the best version of myself. That kind of support, especially from someone who's been through similar things, has made a huge difference in my personal growth.
Thank you. Now I'd like to ask you some further questions related to the topic you just spoke about. In your opinion, what qualities make someone a good role model?
I believe a good role model should possess qualities like integrity, empathy, and resilience. Integrity is crucial because it means they act consistently with their values, inspiring trust. Empathy allows them to connect with others and show understanding, which makes their influence genuine and heartfelt. Resilience is important too. It shows that even when facing setbacks, they persevere and adapt, which can motivate others to do the same.
Do you think people are influenced more by famous people or by people they know personally? Why?
I think people are usually influenced more by those they know personally, like family members or close friends. That's because personal connections feel more genuine and relatable. Famous people can inspire us, of course, especially if they achieve something extraordinary. But their lives often seem distant or unrealistic. On the other hand, someone you know well can offer practical advice and support based on shared experiences. Plus, seeing someone you respect overcome challenges in real life makes their influence stronger and more believable. So, while celebrities might spark motivation, personal relationships tend to have a deeper impact.
How can young people find positive influences in their lives today?
I think young people can find positive influences in a few different ways these days. For instance, they might look for mentors at school or work, people who really inspire them, and give good advice. Social media can actually be useful too, as long as they follow accounts that share positive and motivating content, not just celebrities or trends. Getting involved in clubs or volunteering is another great way to meet people who have similar values and want to support each other. At the end of the day, it's all about being open to learning from others and choosing role models who genuinely help you grow.
Can negative role models have any positive effects on people?
Actually, yes. I think negative role models can have a positive effect in some cases. When people see someone making poor choices or treating others badly, it can push them to do the opposite. It's like learning what not to do by watching someone else's mistakes. For example, if a young person sees a public figure behaving irresponsibly, it might make them more aware of their own values. Of course, constant exposure to bad influences isn't ideal, but sometimes it can lead to self-reflection and better decision-making. So in a way, even negative examples can help people grow.
How do cultural differences affect the way people view role models?
Cultural differences definitely play a big role in how people view role models. In some cultures, role models are expected to be humble, family-oriented, or religious, while in others, success and independence might be more valued. For example, someone who's seen as a hero in one country might not be respected the same way somewhere else. Culture shapes what qualities people admire, whether it's academic achievement, social status, or community service. So, what one person looks up to might seem unimportant or even negative to someone from a different background. It really depends on the values people grow up with.
Thank you very much. That is the end of the speaking test.